Good afternoon and welcome. This is a great day for the City of Franklin. My name's Eric Stuckey. I'm the City Administrator for the City of Franklin, and again, it's my pleasure to welcome you to this day where we get to open up this beautiful stretch of road that will serve our community very, very well for many years to come. I do want to recognize some folks that are here, in particular that have helped make all this possible. First of all, I want to start with our elected officials that are here. From the state of Tennessee, we have Representative Charles Sargent. Where's Charles? Right there. Back. Check the wrong side, Charles. Thank you for being here. We have great representation from our Board of Mayor and Aldermen. We have our Vice Mayor, Mike Skinner. We have at-large Alderman, Brandy Blanton. We have Ward 1 Alderman, Bev Berger. At-large Alderman Ann Peterson, and Ward 4 Alderman Margaret Martin. Have to think of how you're sitting up there to make sure I got it right. I do want to go ahead and recognize too, like I said, many people make this happen. And I'm going to recognize some of them. I know I'm not going to capture everybody, but I want to go through and recognize some entities that were key parts of the team. I'd like to recognize a couple people in each of those groups, and then let's join together to recognize that entity once I've mentioned those folks. First of all, I want to recognize Sullivan Engineering from our project team. Sullivan was the engineering design consultant. I want to recognize some folks in particular from there. Dickie Sullivan, obviously the owner of Sullivan Engineering, but also the design engineer. Paul Collins, who served as the project manager. Paul, thank you. Pat Wiggins, who is the project designer. So let's recognize the group from Sullivan. Also, our construction engineering inspection consultant, Gresham Smith and Partners, were also an important part of the project. Want to recognize Mark Holleran, who is the project manager for them, Jerry Cato, who is the construction manager, and John Carmen, the project inspector. So Gresham Smith, thank you. Next, I want to recognize the guys who actually built the road. The Parks Company, Inc., the prime contractor, Joe Parks, the owner, Trey Evans, the project manager, and Mike McDonald, the project superintendent. Let's recognize the folks from Parks. And then a very important partner in making this all happen and actually funding it, the Tennessee Department of Transportation, the state of Tennessee and Tennessee Department of Transportation. They provided a matching funds for the construction of this project and a 50-50 match through the local interstate connecting fund. And we'll have Commissioner John Schroer speak in a minute, but also want to recognize some other folks from the TDOT team. Hosem Bahor, who is from construction, Kevin Hay from construction, Larry McGugan from local programs, and Casey Pounders from Right Away. So let's thank the folks from TDOT. And I have to recognize the folks who it's my pleasure to work with every day, the City of Franklin team that helped make this happen. Many people from the engineering staff to inspectors who all worked very hard to make this happen. But I want to recognize a few people in particular. David Parker, who's our city engineer and capital investment project executive. Want to recognize David. Paul Holzen, who's our interim director of engineering. Want to recognize him. Eric Gardner's back here, who was our director of engineering when this all started. Want to recognize him. But I especially want to recognize Jonathan Marston, who lived this project every day for a long time. Jonathan, do a great job. We want to thank you and thank our city team. We even got Jonathan on TV yesterday. He hasn't gone to watch it yet, but we're going to tie him down, make him watch it. So good job. Want to give a chance for Commissioner John Schroer to speak. John has a unique role in this project in that he was mayor when we awarded it, and now he's commissioner when we cut the ribbon and open it up. So I want to give John, who has given great leadership to the city of Franklin and now is doing the same for the state of Tennessee in the area of transportation. John, come up for a couple words.
Thank you. I want to say one of the first things I did as mayor was I had a conversation with Ed Cole, who worked for TDOT, and we were fussing over stream mitigation on this particular project. And I didn't really understand the implications of that until I became the commissioner of TDOT. So this has been a slow process. Welcome to my world as a commissioner of TDOT. But it's an exciting road. I know we've talked about this when I was the mayor. This is a critical part. McEwen is such an important road to this side of the interstate and all the way out. And I hope now that I don't have to vote on it, I hope that the next phase of McEwen is up and running as quickly as possible, and you all need to fund that just as fast as you can. So I know I'll get a lot of applause from that, and it's all local dollars, and so the state doesn't have to worry with it. So we're really going to push that really hard. But it's a beautiful road, and a lot of people work together. I do want to recognize Winston Gaffron, who is our Region 3 director, who oversaw all of the other people that were introduced. He does a good job out here, and it's great to see a completion. I would tell you in TDOT the average time to build a road is like 13 years, 12 or 13 years. So this one's a lot faster than that, and that's the world that I have to live with. But we're excited to have this road open. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. I want to ask David Parker to come up and talk a little bit about some of the context of this project, how it's important, and a little bit of the history of it. So David we tease David sometimes about his long tenure with the City of Franklin and have a little fun with him about it, but his expertise and background, both in terms of professional knowledge and the history of this city and how it works, is important to how we get things done. And so I want to give David a few moments to talk about the project. Come on, David.
Thank you, Eric, and welcome to all of you, and it's good to see you out here on this beautiful day to open this project. As said, this is a very important piece of our network that we've been working on for years. It's just try to imagine that after 2000, when we started opening construction on these projects on the east side, Carruthers, McEwen, etc. And it's taken a while, but it's as Commissioner Shore says, it's a little quicker than what they normally do. But we have enjoyed working with TDOT and have especially enjoyed the funding that they've helped us with. And we may be able to find a way to get funding for the rest of McEwen out of them. We'll see. So we'll try anyway. But I did want to give a little bit of history. This part of McEwen, of course, is called Phase 3, as you've been seeing in the paper, etc. We have to divide the projects up in phases because of the funding that's required to be able to build the projects. They're very expensive, but this is all a part of a network. We've been working on this network on the east side of I-65, as I said, for years. We started looking at doing the what we called alignment studies. Sullivan Engineering helped us with those actually way back in the mid-90s. So we've been working on this, trying to lay out what we needed to do. And just to give you a little bit of history of it, our first project for Carruthers Phase 1, which is down at the hospital up to Liberty Pike, we opened that project in June of 2007. We followed pretty quickly with the interchange in September of 2007. That was a project that we worked with TDOT again. They funded the construction. We did all the right-of-way and engineering funding, but they funded the construction. And regardless of what people think, we had that project going before Nissan came in. So it was actually an incentive for Nissan to want to locate close by. The next project that we did was Carruthers Nissan, which we call Carruthers. That's from here up to where we had built, already had Carruthers Parkway built by some development. We called it Carruthers Nissan just to be able to designate it. Plus, that funding was also from TDOT. We got the funding for the construction. We did the city did the funding for the right-of-way and for the engineering for it. Then the excuse me, the last project as far as on this side was the Carruthers Phase 2, which is from here, from McEwen down to Liberty Pike. We opened that in October of 2009. I'm sorry, I didn't say when we opened the Nissan. It was July 2008. So you see, from 2005 to now, we have done a lot of work on this side of the interstate, getting our network set up. We got more work to do. We still have to complete the rest of McEwen, which I'm sure a lot of you are well aware of. But we're working on it. When we get the funding, we'll get the construction started. So again, thank you for coming out. It is a momentous day for Franklin for getting this part going. And I hope you enjoy driving on it. It is a good looking road. It's going to ride real well. It's a very smooth road. Parks Company has they've done an excellent job in getting this project done, construction, and we want to thank them for that. So with that, I'll turn it back to Eric.
When we put this little brief program together, we had to include the Ward 1 Alderman, Bev Berger, because she has kept us posted on what we needed to do and following up on what we needed to do to make this project happen. Bev has had a passion for serving her ward and helping this project through, and I can't count how many times we've had conversations about what we were doing and what the next steps needed to be and where we were with our relationship with our other partners in getting this done. But I wanted to give Bev a chance to talk about the meaning of this to the community and her ward in particular. So Bev, come on up.
Thanks, Eric. Yeah, Eric is hoping I won't call him anymore, but Eric, we're about ready to start the area about the roundabout to put that through, and then phase 4. So I don't think you can get rid of me. In 2005, when I was elected to office, it took me over a year to realize really all that was going to be involved over here on the east side, and had to really get on it and stay on it. And I've talked to so many of you, and thank you all for coming out today. There's so many of the residents here that we've been corresponding with, and the kids, and John Parker, and all of you. Thank you so much for coming. And the Campbells, I think you were here at the opening down here when we opened Cool Springs in Oxford Glen. So hanging in there with us, aren't you? Thank you so much. Just a few notes. I just want to, first of all, I don't know who ordered this weather, but it's perfect, and I'm so glad for it. And thank you, fellow aldermen, for coming today and being here, and all of you, Representative Charles Sargent and Commissioner Shore. I really appreciate them all being here. And by the way, I put out an email to the constituents here to tell you that this was happening, and I said, Publix is going to be providing some snacks, although AutoCheck did it, and it came across that they would be providing snakes this morning. So I want to know, Lily, do you have any snakes back there? Serve them right up, fried. Great, thank you. So we have snakes and snacks. So if you came out for the snakes, go right ahead, they're over here. Thank you all to the companies that have worked so hard on this, and the staff and the workers on the road. I've stopped many a days and talked with them. And most of all, thank you very much, all of you, especially the people in Ward 1, the people in the staff of the city, for all the patience that everyone's had through this. We've got great things happening. We've got a wonderful city, and I know we're all thrilled to have this road open today. And so, again, thank you so much.
Okay, it's about ribbon cutting time. I do need to say, Mayor Dr. Ken Moore could not be here today. He had a long planned trip out of town, so he is not able to join us, and passes on his regrets that he can't be here for this special day. But because he can't be here, we've had one of the busiest weeks in the history of vice mayordom in the city of Franklin this week. Vice Mayor Mike Skinner will lead us in cutting the ribbon, so I want to invite Mike up here to lead us in that. Come on up.
Yeah, it's interesting. The vice mayor job is elected annually by the other aldermen, but it's basically ceremonial, except for this week. But I'm Mike Skinner. I'm currently vice mayor and third ward alderman, and I want to thank all of our elected officials, all of our staff, and all of our citizens that took the time to come out today. I want to especially thank the commissioner of TDOT for his presence, and remind people that there are 2 TDOT projects that are going on right now in the city of Franklin. The widening of the northeast section of Mack Hatcher, and the widening that continues on I-65. So we thank the commissioner for that, and hope that he will continue to keep us in mind as far as projects. There's another road that we've completed this week, and this was done by the city. The road that's off of Mowry, that's Nickel Mill, this will provide better access to our biomedical zone, and will hopefully bring future scientific and research jobs into Franklin. So that's something that we can be proud of, that Franklin has done for themselves. So thank you. Okay, that's enough for all this talk. Let's cut a ribbon, y'all.